Main District Library for November 15th, 2023 at 7:45 p.m.
Okay. Ready? Trustee Kadir?
Here.
Trustee Derblick?
Present.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
Here.
Treasurer Vitello?
Present.
Secretary Rosansky?
Here.
Vice President Trunko?
Here.
And President Keen.
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the October 18th, 2023 regular board meeting?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the October 18, 2023 regular board meeting.
I second.
Any comments?
I'll read.
Okay, roll call, please.
Trustee Kadir?
Yes.
Trustee Derblick?
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Treasurer Vitello?
Yes.
Secretary Rosansky?
Yes.
Vice President Trunko?
Yes.
And President Keen.
Yes.
It passes 7-0.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the October 30th, 2023 special board meeting?
I move to.
I'd like to make a motion for the minutes of the October 30th,
already
2023
made the
special
motion.
board meeting. You gotta read it.
Oh, no, you don't. We
Yeah,
never
you did.
use
Oh.
this.
You
Whatever.
should
We should read
Yeah,
it.
you gotta read it.
Whatever.
Okay,
I
so
made a motion.
Okay, I
Let him
second.
have it. If he's gonna fight
I
over it's not
second.
worth it.
Yeah.
We just have to read it.
Yeah, baloney.
Okay,
thank you.
any comments? Okay, roll call, please.
Trustee Kadir?
Yes.
Trustee Derblick?
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Treasurer Vitello?
Yes.
Secretary Rosansky?
Yes.
Vice President Trunko?
Yes.
President Keen.
Yes,
Passes 7-0.
thank you.
Thank you. Public comments?
Public comment?
Elliot Oceanen?
Good evening again. Elliot Oshman again. More public comments. Earlier I discussed the test of a first-rate intelligence. Now we'll deal with the definitions of stupidity and ignorance. A fact is information minus emotion. An opinion is information plus experience. Ignorance is an opinion lacking information, and stupidity is an opinion that ignores a fact. In the last 3 fiscal years, we have seen an abundance of stupidity displayed. This is because opinions were expressed in contrast to the facts. And an abundance of ignorance, as there were multiple examples of requests for further information requested as the requesting board member did not understand the information provided. Solution to both of these situations: get a candle and a match. Better to light a candle than to curse the darkness. But if you cut the budget for candles and disregarded staff requests for matches, you have no options left. This proposed levy, in an effort to correct the multiple wrongs of the last fiscal years, is a step in the right direction. Remember, the next election date for board members is April 1st, 2025, unless one votes early. Thank you and good night.
Thank you.
Steve Sanders?
Hi, my name is still Steve Sanders, still PK. Tonight, I just want to come out and say that I think you should approve the contract for the staff for the union, or for the union staff. I have had the honor of volunteering with many of them and working with them at events. And we need to make sure that our staff is well paid and well compensated for the work that they do. Many of them have high educations, and we need to build back what we have lost over the last 2 years. And so I just want to ask you to approve the union contracts that they can get their fair compensation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dave Carbota?
Good evening again, board. Like I talked about 15 minutes ago,
What you're looking to do is you're looking to operate this library for 12 months by slapping the taxpayers at $7,800,000 for the next 12 months. This is an increase of $1,500,000 plus as compared to 2 years ago. This library is funded, the programs are funded, everything is fine. The savings account that you have, your total savings accounts is well over $13 million sitting in the bank. You present a budget of $7.6 million, which is outrageous, but you have plenty to pick up in order to pay those bills without having to hit the taxpayers for more. This is not about what's best for the children, because what's best for the children is for the parents to be able to pay their bills and feed their families. I'm out there with clients every day, and they are struggling in order to keep and have ends meet. And whether you're wasting $90 or $900, you are sitting on $13,300,000 in savings. You moved $2 million from your general savings account to your capital fund account, because if not, under the law, you had $9.5 million there, you had $5.5 million there. The law says you can't have that much in your savings, you gotta dump it. So you could have either dumped it back to the parents that feed these children, or you can dump it in your capital fund, and that's what you did. You dumped it in your capital fund, and now you're increasing your levy to $7.8 million, which means every 60 days, it's gonna cost us taxpayers, us parents, from our children, we're gonna have to pay you $1,300,000 every 60 days to operate this library. It's absolutely and totally outrageous, especially in this environment. And I ask that this levy not be approved. I also renew my comments from 15 minutes ago, have them adopted here. Thank you.
That's it. Is there anyone else that would like to give public comment?
I move to enter executive session to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body under ILCS 120/2C1, to discuss collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or third-party representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees under ILCS 122C2, and to discuss minutes of meetings lawfully closed under this act, whether for purposes of approval by the body of the minutes or semi-annual review of the minutes as mandated by section 2.06 under ILCS 120/2C21.
I second.
7:53.
Trustee Kadir?
Yes.
Trustee Derblick?
Yes.
Executive session. Yes, it's an executive session. Trustee
Yes.
Schoenfeld? Treasurer Battello?
Yes.
Secretary Rosansky?
Yes.
Vice President Trunko?
Yes.
And President Kuhn.
Yes.
7-0 passes.
I never remember, do we need to vote to be back in open session?
No.
No, because we voted to come in.
All right, so then the next item on the agenda is there a motion to approve the final collective?
And should we do a roll call first?
Oh.
Oh.
To
Okay,
make
thank
sure
you.
everybody is here.
The time is what, 9:15?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Trustee Kadir?
Here.
Yes.
Trustee Derblick?
Present.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
Here.
Treasurer Patello?
Present.
Here.
Secretary Rosansky, Vice President Trunko?
Here.
And President Keen?
Here.
Excellent.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the final collective bargain agreement effective through December 31st, 2026, as ratified by the union membership on November 10th, 2023.
I second.
Could we speak before we vote?
No,
No.
we already did that. The
Discussion.
discussion was in the last meeting. That's, it's not written that way. It's just motion to
Well,
approve.
when you motion to approve, don't you have discussion before you vote?
If it's a motion to discuss and
it's-
approve,
If
but
it's
it's just,
discussed and approved.
we can't discuss any of the
Okay, I don't want to
details.
discuss, then I'll just be quick when I
Yeah, 'cause
vote.
Okay.
I'll just elongate my vote.
Yeah, you could probably comment with your vote,
Okay,
right?
I'll do that. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Margaret.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help it.
Thank you. Trustee Kadir?
Yes.
Trustee Derblick?
I just want to quickly say, in 2021, our library staff voted to join AFSCME union. During that union process, my key interest and expectation was to see the inequalities in staff raises between lower pay grades and the higher pay grades, which existed for years, under Director Lemke, be corrected. I will admit, for some time, I also questioned the integrity of AFSCME during our negotiations process. I am glad to have read this agreement. The AFSCME collective bargaining agreement addresses wages at all grade levels and provides fair compensation to the staff. In addition, now that we are a union, there are going to be union procedures which could affect library operations, possibly impact services, and may increase costs. However, I believe that this can be prevented by administrative monitoring. I am confident that in the future, a knowledgeable and experienced Board of Trustees with a highly qualified executive director could provide a sustainable library, balancing the needs of our staff while protecting residents from excessive costs and wasteful spending. I vote yes.
Thank you. Trustee Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Treasurer Patello?
Yes.
Secretary Rosansky?
Yes.
Vice President Trunko?
AFSCME members, you backed us. I'm happy we were able to back you and get this contract done. Yes.
Thank you. President King?
Yes!
7-0 passes.
I couldn't hear you.
What?
What was that?
I can't hear anymore, so that's fine.
Well, I'm quiet now.
Sorry, what did you?
Congratulations.
Excuse me. Yes.
All right, there's another, final action on another executive session minute. I'm sorry, let me rephrase. I'm a little too excited.
I move to take action on other closed executive session
Thank you.
items.
And there is one. So I move to approve the independent contractor extension agreement.
No, somebody has to second my motion first.
You have to second it.
I second.
Okay. Now we gotta vote on my motion, then you can make your motion.
Why?
I think, right?
No.
No,
No.
No.
we
What's
vote
going
on
on
hers.
again?
It was first and second first, not yours.
Please go ahead.
Yes.
Okay,
All right.
whatever.
Margaret, I can also send it to you later. I move to approve the independent contractor extension agreement for interim director services with Pilar Shaker and to authorize the board president to execute the same.
I second. Now we vote?
After Margaret's done writing. You want me to repeat?
Can you please, because I
Absolutely.
completely lost it.
I move to approve
Okay,
the independent contractor extension agreement for interim director services with Pilar Pilar Shaker, and to authorize the board president to execute the same.
I second.
Ready?
Yep.
Okay. Trustee Kadir,
Yes.
trustee Dublik,
Yes.
trustee Schoenfeld,
Yes.
treasurer Botello,
Yes.
secretary Rosansky,
Yes.
vice president Trunko,
Yes.
and president Key.
Yes.
Okay, passes. 7-0.
Thank you.
I'd like to make
ahead.
a motion to approve operating expenses of $184,935.73. Payroll expenses of $244,453.55. Special reserve expenses of $17,500 for a total of monthly expense of $446,889.28.
I second.
Any comments or questions about the payment of bills? All right, then take the roll, please, Margaret.
Trustee Kadir,
Yes.
trustee Dublik,
Yes.
trustee Schoenfeld,
Yes.
treasurer Botello,
Yes.
secretary
Yes.
Rosansky, vice president Trunko,
Yes.
and president Key.
Yes.
7-0 passes.
Suzanne, are you okay?
Yeah.
Treasurer's report?
Thank you, Madam President. The financial report for, as of October 31st, 2023, beginning balance at the end of the month of September 30th, 2023, $13,339,384. Revenue came in as replacement taxes, $60,483. Investment income, $40,380. Passports, $5,252. Other at $4,997, combined at $111,112. Expenditures included the employee salaries, $249,239. Employee fringe benefits, $50,232. Social Security, $17,590. Unemployment, $298. That came out to a total of $317,359. Operating expenses, including library materials, at $90,913. Library operations, $48,739. General and administrative expenses, $62,386. Capital expenditures at $17,500. Audit, $8,300. Utilities, $6,911. Building and maintenance, equipment maintenance, $25,450. Combined, $260,199. Total expenditures at $577,558. That leaves us an ending balance on October 31st on the balance sheet of $13,600,363. Any questions?
6,000.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
it is, you were right the first time.
Yes, forgive me. Any questions?
Thank you.
Madam President, thank you.
Treasurer Botello.
I
Yep,
do
go ahead.
have something, and I'm not sure if I should move this over to other business, but in reviewing some of our accounts, we recognize that one of the accounts is receiving a maintenance fee of about $17 or so. And in order to avoid that maintenance fee, it would be in the library's best interest to transfer some funds from cash into that account to meet the minimum deposit balance in order to avoid that finance charge. Right, a maintenance fee.
How much money are we talking?
Less than 10,000, because the minimum balance on the account is 10,000, minus the balance that's there
Well,
currently.
let's do it.
Move 10,000 to save $17 a month.
A month, correct. And it's basically money that we have in cash accounts, and essentially it would just be moving it over to that account that's incurring the
But
fee.
there's already money in there, so we're not moving 10,000, we're just moving whatever the balance is
The
to
re-
Do
make
we
the
even, like,
10,000.
is this a
Correct.
board level
Balance
decision?
sheet.
Isn't that just an accounting decision?
Well,
No.
right, that's, you know,
What would their balance be?
right now I don't have the actual balance because it changes, but I believe it's in the range of less than 5,000. Although I don't recall the exact value right
No,
now.
I think that's just.
No, the treasurer-
Yeah, that's just the treasurer.
You can make
just
that-
do it.
Okay.
We entrust
Thank you
with
for
that.
asking.
Sure. Mhm.
Thank you.
Nothing else. Thank you, Mr.
All
President.
right, thank you.
Yeah, I don't think we need to vote on
All right, Pilar.
Yeah, I have nothing to add to what I put in my report, aside from I just wanted to sort of call out the wonderful staff day that Cassandra put on for everyone. It was really lovely, a lovely time, and I think it happened at an important time for our staff, who really enjoyed having some time together and some team building, and I am grateful to Cassandra for that. And I also wanted to just acknowledge that Sasha won't be with us at our next board meeting. He will have already moved on to his next position, and so I just wanted to acknowledge the many, many years that he's put in here. He's a favorite amongst staff, and
Yes.
and in the short time I've worked with him, I have enjoyed having him as well. So he will be missed, and I know that's a sentiment that's shared. So. Aside from that, if there are questions I can answer, I will.
Losing Sasha is a very big loss. Sasha is my personal favorite. I've never been able to have a discussion with somebody who always had a smile on his face during the discussion as I have been with Sasha. He will be missed for sure. So,
it. Yeah, Sasha's awesome. And they are to replace,
He was an
Very.
asset to the library.
or rather impossible to replace.
Any questions for Pilar on her report? Okay.
There is no
Or
secretary
the
report?
statistics or library highlights?
no secretary's report?
Secretary, is there a report?
Mhm.
No.
All right.
We are on 12, new business.
Like-
A, go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2023 levy ordinance number 23-04.
I second.
All right, so it is just a motion to approve, so we can take a vote.
Do we want to include the amount of the levy in the motion?
No, the ordinance already
It's
listed.
already,
no,
it's already
so-
written.
I know, but I'm just saying, so if anyone's listening, they have no idea, but okay, it's fine.
Okay,
Yes.
Margaret, thank you.
Trustee Kadir,
Yes.
trustee Dublik,
No.
trustee Schoenfeld. No. Treasurer Botello,
Yes.
secretary Rosansky,
Yes.
vice president Trocco,
Yes.
president Key.
Yes.
5-2 passes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve library closure dates. Friday, October 18th, 2024 for staff training, and Friday, was that supposed to be 2023?
No.
This is for
24.
next
Oh,
year.
2024, okay.
For next year.
Well, but then, okay.
Yeah,
And Friday, December 8th, 2023, with an alternate date of Friday, December 22nd, 2023 for electrical upgrades in the north basement.
is there a second?
I have a,
I'll second.
okay, she seconded it. I have a question.
Okay.
Is Rich here?
I am.
Hey, buddy, I have a question for you. Are you going to know enough before the dates? How much before the 8th would you know if they're coming on the 22nd?
I hope to have a commitment by the 1st of December, so there's plenty of time.
Okay, because I feel the residents need to know, okay, hey, we're not closed on the 8th if we're not. Okay, thank you.
I'd like to discuss the staff training day. I know there's one motion with two different decisions here, but if I could, I did attend this year's staff training, and I realized we hadn't had one in some time, and it was a great opportunity for our staff to get together. But going forward, what I was thinking is, I don't know the total number of staff that attended. I do have some information, but I know there were staff that weren't there, and I'm not sure if having one day for staff training really serves all of our employees. I was wondering if we could consider staff training being 2 days, but during the day when the library is open, one to concentrate maybe on staff members earlier in the day, and then a second day to concentrate on staff members later in the day, so everyone would participate. There is training that goes on. I know they had a great breakfast and lunch and that sort of thing, but there is quite a bit of training. And according to the bargaining agreement, the union will also be utilizing our staff day for their training. And that would be really important for all of our staff to be in attendance. And we don't seem to be able to do that when we pick a day because of the different hours our staff works. So I was wondering if we could rethink this. I mean, we should still have a staff training day, but I think we're at a point where we're going to need 100% participation. All our staff should know what's going on.
I think that somebody, the new director who comes in will
Mhm.
probably be more the person that needs to make this
Okay.
decision. I think in the meantime, it doesn't hurt to save the date. We can always take it back later. But I think that's something that the new director should be able to determine how they want to run their staff days.
That's basically what I was gonna
Yeah,
say.
and at least we're saving something.
Also think it, having board presence at staff days is not beneficial.
Well, if we're trying to create an environment
Of safety
of
and
working
respect.
together, actually, that would begin with you. But if we're trying to create an environment where staff and the board learn to work
Staff day.
together, that's
Staff
important.
day. Staff day.
Trustees have been there before, it's not a
That's when they're
surprise.
invited, yes.
But anyway, thank you for your comment.
Okay, anybody else?
Are we ready to vote, or is there any other?
Hold
Okay.
So you're voting on all of this at once?
Yes, we
Yes.
are.
Okay,
Trustee Kadir,
Yes.
trustee Derblick,
no.
trustee Schoenfeld,
Yes.
treasurer Patello,
Yes.
secretary Rosansky,
Yes.
vice president Schwenko,
Yes.
president King,
Yes.
6-1 passes.
Okay, I have, Patty, do you wanna, we have a quick update on the executive director search. We have a total of 8 candidates that we are interviewing. We've interviewed 6 of them already. The other 2 will be finished by the weekend, end of the weekend.
Mhm.
We will then be bringing forward the top candidates to the board to interview.
How many?
We don't know yet, because we're not done yet. Right now, we have 2, we might have more.
So there are a total of only 8 applicants?
No, there were
No.
about 21 applicants. Of those
That's
21,
Thank you.
a representative from HR Source pushed through 8 that she thought were,
Acceptable.
yes.
Of higher
And she did a phone
Higher
interview with
quality.
them, and then she sent us the text that she, took of the phone interviews for us to review. And we decided to proceed with an interview with all 8 of them. And that's where we are doing right now. So once we have finished all 8, we won't know then how many we'll bring forward to the board. It's at least 2, could be 4 by the time we're done. And what we are planning is to have them come in for a few hours to meet the board and have an interview with the board, and to also tour the facilities and have a chance to meet the staff.
My recommendation on this is going to be, if anybody is on the bubble, to err on the side of bringing them in.
Yes.
I'd rather interview more people. Just, again, my experience at the Des Plaines Library was that going into a series of interviews, you think it's gonna go a certain way and it doesn't necessarily go that way, especially when the whole board has a chance to discuss. So I'm gonna say, if there's some people who are clearly not qualified for the job or clearly not suitable for the job, then that's one thing. But if there's anybody who, the search committee even has an inkling that they might be good enough, that we should bring them in for a full interview.
I
That's my
appreciate that.
Can I ask one question?
I'd
Is
rather
it,
spend more time screening more
I
people.
understand what you're saying.
That's it.
is it possible for the whole board to receive the resumes or whatever you have from these 8 candidates?
No,
So
only
we
the
can-
ones that we're gonna bring forward.
Well, I'd rather see the whole board have at least some insight on who the 8 candidates are, should it fall apart when you bring just whoever you bring forward. At least you think these 8 are qualified compared to the 20-something who applied.
So the Kathy from HR Source brought forward those 8. And of those 8, we are interviewing them, and we will determine who to bring before the board, and those are the resumes that we will share.
But I don't think it's a select number of trustees who should be making this decision when this board
It's a committee
is.
of 4 people that consists of 2 trustees, Cassandra and Kathy.
That's not the point. The point is the trustees should be able to see who applied for the position of a person that will be reporting to them. I don't see what it would hurt for us to see that.
I thank you for your opinion.
No, I agree with that. I don't see what the
Thank you for
downside
your
is.
opinion.
The search committee has determined how we're going to do this. And
That's where the problem lies.
But
Thank
we're not looking to change it, but if they just want to see who applied.
Yeah, it's not like nobody's trying to, I'm not trying to interject.
Right.
It's
So,
just a question of just getting full
hypothetically, we
information.
give you the 8 resumes, and we don't bring forward those 8, and you don't like the 2 or 3 that we bring forward, then what?
No, then when we're in a meeting and for some reason you don't pick one, at least we can say, hey, do you want to consider going
You can
back?
explain then, you see what I'm saying?
No, I don't.
Like, so
Oh, she's
you send us 8 resumes, right? You send us 8
Excuse
resumes.
me?
You send us 8 resumes, and then we say, hey, just looking on paper,
Mhm.
these 3 look the best, right? Or these 4 look the best. And then you say, no, actually, I want to bring these other 4 to you. You say, hey, Becky, why? With explanation. Now you have an opportunity to explain. It doesn't change the decision, but it does.
But it will.
It will, because it
But
will
it
cause
could-
more confusion.
Okay, so,
Cassandra, do you have any HR?
You're the
Aspect,
HR
put that on,
person,
or
what do you
provide.
think?
I think my trust really does go with the consulting firm. I mean, as a board, you did hire HR Source to assist with this recruiting efforts. So I think just given that you did give Kathy Shaker specifically, she's our representative, I mean, that was what was approved. So my recommendation is going to be what HR Source and the consultants are telling us to do. This is their recommendation to us. I know the thing is that with board recruiting, it can get complicated because there's obviously a panel rather than one person, because, I mean, for an entity of any kind, you're not going to have the entire staff have input on who they're going to hire as their leader. That's just the way it goes. But I think in this scenario, I do want to trust Kathy's recommendation that we share, and not just resumes, we'll share with you phone screens, all the documents that were given to us with the top candidates that we have. But at this point, I think anything more than that could pose as overwhelming. And I do agree with Kathy's recommendation to share what we have as our top qualified.
no, I'm not saying that we see all 21.
No, but you're saying to
No.
see all 8,
Right.
and I still think that would be an overwhelming response.
Okay.
And I think
Okay, I'll-
it wasn't the recommendation that was, kind of generated with the committee, so I do want to go off of that recommendation because, again, we did hire HR Source, you did hire them as a board to help us, so I want to go off of the recommendation of the consultants.
Fair
So
enough.
if it's helpful, I can ask Kathy to send an email to the trustees explaining why she feels that way, if you think that would be
I
helpful.
think that would be helpful, yeah.
I can do that.
I'm sure she would have absolutely no problem with it.
I guess the larger point that I'm trying to express is my interest is not in seeing resumes. My interest is in seeing the committee whittle it down to 4 or 5 choices for the board and not 2 or 3. That's
If
all
there-
I'm,
If there are 4 or 5
If there are
qualified,
4 or 5 that qualify. At
No,
this point,
qualified.
we still have 2 more interviews and then we can see.
I
and,
mean, what it feels like is like you don't trust what we're doing.
no, that's not it's not a question of trust, it's a question of getting more input, that's all.
Thank you.
I think that's it's a different,
Yeah, it's a different perspective.
like, it's, you know, if we get 3 candidates, right, and the majority of the board doesn't like any of them, now we're stuck.
3 is really limited.
So
Are you
that's
serious?
that's my concern.
Well, I think that we are lucky that we have received the applications that we have because of the situation we're in,
Mhm.
unfortunately. But I am actually very hopeful by some of the ones that I've seen so far, so I,
Mhm.
you know,
All right, okay.
Yeah, we've had some really good ones so far.
With your experience, and I'm only asking because you've done this
Yeah.
before, and it's nothing against the committee, so please nobody take it that way.
Don't worry about it.
Well, I gotta make sure that I phrase it the
Yeah,
right
right.
way. Would it be helpful to see all 8? I'm asking your opinion because you've gone through this, even though there's only 2 right now that are qualified out of the 6 that they've seen.
well, we're just saying those are
We're
the ones
just-
we
They're
think are
all
best.
Yeah, yeah,
fits,
well,
right?
let me
I'm
rephrase
not
that,
saying
the
that they're
best
all
fits.
qualified.
Do you
They're all very
think, since they are all qualified, what do you, I mean, you've gone through this at this point, I haven't.
So all I can say is that Des Plaines, I can't remember the number, but we had either 5 or 7 candidates that the entire board interviewed. And we interviewed either 5 or 7 candidates, I'm not remembering the number, and then I think it was 5, and then whittled it down to 2, and then had
How
a
many
second
did
round.
but do you like remember how many? were
Oh,
in
I don't remember the
original?
universe. So,
Okay.
but what I'm saying is, when we were comparing
So
5,
then you had multiple meetings.
yes, we did.
Okay.
So when we whittled it down from 5 to 2,
Okay,
it was like we did so by consensus of the board. And it was a really eye-opening process, because when you get 5 people considered by the entire board, you really have an opportunity to contrast styles and contrast qualifications and experience. And you do realize certain things that when you're presented with 2 or maybe even 3, you're just not gonna see some of those contrasts. So one of the issues, again, that a lot of things play out, but what I'm saying is, I think with more candidates in front of the board, it just will give the entire board an opportunity to opine on something. Look, you're a librarian, I'm not, so I trust that you know 50 million times more than I do about, what this is gonna take. But, there's always a benefit in getting another set of ears to listen to what's going on. Now, ultimately, I defer to what you guys decide. I'm just presenting this idea that I think we should have a bigger universe.
I appreciate what you're saying. However,
Uh-huh.
some of these people live outside the area. So are you suggesting Zoom meetings for your supposedly second meeting and then your third meeting?
You mean outside the area, like
I
outside of
mean,
Illinois?
outside of,
well, we do
Well-
have candidates further in Illinois and outside of Illinois.
yes. They're not all like, hey, I live in the
Well,
suburbs.
outside of Illinois, they would have to.
Yeah, we should do by Zoom.
Well, yeah, but if you're doing 2, the second meeting, are you gonna allow for that?
The final interview would have to be
Yeah,
in
in
person.
person.
The
That would
final,
have to-
yes, would have to be.
So
in
you're only
person.
doing 2 rounds. At the end of the day, you're only doing 2
He's
rounds.
saying you go from 5 to 2, and then at the 2, then you make the decision which one.
Or 4 to 2, or whatever. But that I'm saying you have 2 rounds of interviews where you whittle it down to 2, and then you have them.
So you're saying 2 things I'm hearing, is one, is that you wanna have a bigger pool.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well,
And
maybe-
is everyone in consensus
Well,
with that?
maybe we could agree to a certain number. I mean, because, like Sandra said, all 8 of these people are qualified.
Right,
The committee's looking at the best fits.
There's
Right.
a,
I understand. So maybe out of the 8, since there's 8, and this still may be possible, what I'm suggesting is you still have 2 more to go. Maybe we say, let's bring at least 4, the top 4 candidates that you guys have
Yeah.
to the board. Because you
Okay.
still may
That's
have
what I
4
wanna say,
you
that's
still may-
what I,
You still
Yeah,
may have 4,
that's
you still have
exactly
2
what
more
I'm
to go.
trying to
But
If
what
you like
I'm
those people,
saying
you know what I
is,
mean?
are you gonna allow them to be Zoom meetings?
yes.
For the first round,
yes.
yes.
So my
Second round
second-
would be flyers.
Second question or thing that I'm hearing from you is that, so they've already gone through a phone screen and they've already gone through the committee. Now they're gonna come before the board twice?
Yeah.
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 Okay, 'cause that's not what we had talked about on the committee. The committee, I mean, and that's just what I got
I
from
would,
Kathy.
I would
so-
say they come to the board twice before a hire is
Okay,
made.
Yeah, 'cause
we
we
have
haven't
to talk
talked to,
to
we haven't,
Kathy
the rest of the
about
board.
Somebody
hasn't
could have a
talked to
bad
us,
day.
so-
Right,
You know?
right, okay.
Somebody can have a bad day.
Yeah, somebody could just have a bad day, and you don't wanna lose a good director because somebody wasn't feeling well
So
that
you
day or
say,
whatever.
so just to confirm, let's say it was today, so November 15th, 16th, whatever day we're on at this point of the day. So let's say the 16th, you have round 1 of interviews.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we would do it back-to-back days, but then the 17th, it's cut down to 2 people.
Yeah.
and yeah,
Like you literally,
Okay.
right after the interview, you sit down in executive session,
and we decide.
decide who the final 2 are, and then go from there.
Yes, Cassandra.
I do want to just say something real quick. To be mindful of the candidate, you're going to be asking them to go through a 4-step interview process. That's a lot of pressure. And I think for the in-person interview, we are, is it okay to say that we were talking about having them meet? Yeah, we were talking about having them meet with staff as well, which can be a pressureful situation, but also a benefit to the candidate to kind of interview the staff as well as the board. I wouldn't recommend having a 4th interview. I think, again, I do want to advocate for the fact that the board did hire HR Source. And to go off your point of being concerned about having the different perspectives of having 8 candidates, I certainly empathize and I understand where that's coming from. However, a lot of libraries don't utilize third-party vendors that are coming with an unbiased opinion on these candidates. So they're viewing these qualifications solely on the basis of qualifications. There's absolutely no bias coming from HR Source. So I do want to just remind you all of that fact. That's not the norm when it comes to recruiting for libraries. So again, I just want to stress that I do think that the recommendation coming from HR Source is a respectable one. And I think just going off of protocol and just being mindful of the candidates and their time, I think a 4-step interview process would be very over-excessive and not common, given the fact that we are going to be asking them to do a presentation for us as well. So it'll be a very thorough interview that they will have with the board. So I think asking them to interview with you twice is going to be excessive, and that's my opinion.
Laura, as a director, have you ever, I mean, what has your experience been, I guess, and what would you feel about this if you were?
I've never interviewed more than twice, in total, including a phone screen.
Would it
And
be
that's
ju-
my experience. What I would say is that I think it's not fair to a candidate if there is already consensus on the committee that this candidate is not a good option. It's not fair to ask them to come in and do another interview just for the sake of having a certain number of people to interview.
Okay.
I would be displeased if I felt like I was being invited for the interview just for the sake of being the fourth to fill out the 4. So if the committee feels like there are candidates that are not great options, I don't think that they should be invited for an in-person interview just to hit a certain threshold of candidates.
I guess what I'm asking is, I think there's a value in the board as a whole being able to interview the long shots, because the long shot could get the job.
Anybody could have a rough day. They were
Yeah.
put through from HR Source because they were good enough to get through, and anybody could have a rough day.
Yeah, I just think that maybe is a choice that should have been made at the beginning of this process.
But
That
if
you
they
all,
A phone screen and a committee screen and the board screen, that's not just one day, that's 3 days.
Okay, so then let me reframe it then.
Well, hold on one second, yes and no. And I'll, once they get to the board level, yes, but I'm saying at this point, it's been HR Source who felt they were good enough to come through. Now it's at the committee, and anybody could have had a bad day at that committee point. so maybe it just didn't work out or feel right that day. So what the mayor's saying is you bring that person in, give them a chance, and listen, it could be the fact, we don't, to be fair, only two of us in this, well, two board members in this room know who the long shots would be and who the people are that,
We're not biased.
we're not, we're
We're not
just as
biased at all.
unbiased is, so, I don't know, I think just based off of conversations we've had with other situations, two candidates seem to get us in a little bit of a tight window, and
If
I
you-
think the more the better.
I
That's my
don't,
opinion.
we aren't a definite two at this point.
No, it could be up to
And
four.
we've been telling people the top two or three. So, and we still have interviews to go. So we might have two people that rock it out of the park. But like Pilar said, she's only been through 2 interviews for any position. And now we're telling them not 3, but 4 interviews.
So let me ask you something, the people that are out of state, if they were gonna be in your top 2 or 3, they would have to come, you would have them come in?
Yes, if they want the job, they need to come in before the board and do their
one round- Then just do
presentation.
1 round of interviews with the board and let's make a decision off of that. You don't need a second day then.
Okay.
But I say bring as many as possible.
Yeah, I still, the concern I have is, we have two, is, if one person is, for whatever reason, the majority of the board says, yeah, for whatever reason, you're left with a default offer as
And then
opposed
people are gonna
to,
know that you're falling back on them if you go back to any of those people.
yeah, it just, I really don't like the idea of two. You know,
We'll see, we
Well,
still
we're
have more
not trying
interviews.
to keep it to that number.
right, no, I know, but I'm just saying that, I don't know, I just,
At this
it makes me really
point-
uncomfortable. I mean, this is literally the, you know,
At this point,
We can't screw this up.
at
Exactly.
this point,
Not saying
Again.
you would.
at this point, again, we need to have dates that are acceptable for the board to do any interviews.
Yeah, that's.
So that way we
let's
can
see.
tell when we,
That's what we're on now, so.
yes.
okay,
But we need to understand what we're asking from the committee though, because if you're gonna come with 2 and the board's looking for 5, or everybody, we need to agree as a board what we're gonna be doing even on that date.
So does that require a vote then from us, or just a consensus?
I think
it's just
consensus.
Yeah.
I mean, Becky had asked before, does we all feel that way, but we continue the conversation, so.
Sure. Well,
What's your opinion?
I'll sure, yeah, I was gonna offer my opinion. I'm satisfied with the way the process is now. I'm confident that the committee will do their job, regardless of the number. Short and sweet.
Carolyn?
I'm sorry,
Oh, sorry. it should be Corin.
I was writing a note, what am I responding to?
Do you have any input on this?
additional comments.
I personally think it's beneficial for any candidate to be interviewed by the entire board. I mean, you created this process, and I'll admit, the last interview process we had, if we left it up just to 2 candidates, it may not have gone the way it went. So I am concerned that we do need all the trustees' input.
Okay.
But it's your decision, I'm a minority, so that's my input.
So what I'm hearing is we are going to bring in as many as we think are qualified, at least, are you telling me a number, or are we just?
I mean, you can't go with
More
qualified,
than
because if we
2.
go by if we go by
Qualified,
qualified. it's
everybody
8.
can-
Okay,
Well, then it's
the
8.
recommend, what the committee is recommending, are you giving me a number, I guess, is, because,
I would like to see a minimum of 3 candidates. If there's a number, preferably 4 or 5, but a minimum of 3, I
Yeah,
would like to see.
I would like to see 4.
I think we should determine what's too few, because I can't believe we're gonna actually pick candidates by trying to fill a quota. It doesn't sound right.
Yeah, no, so what I'm saying, 3 or more, right? So less than 2 would be too few to me. Minimum of 3. Even if one is a long shot, even if you guys think that, you know, these 2 are way more qualified, this one, maybe, I'd rather see them maybe.
We don't know.
We don't know that.
Okay,
I mean, we're trusting you to make that call, like to rank them 1 to 8. But we're saying cut the line at 3 or 4, don't cut the line at 2. That's what,
Okay,
I think that's a different.
we hear you.
You see what I'm saying? That's
We
not
hear you.
it's not a lack of trust, it's just
We hear
All
you.
right, so
broadening the pool.
that actually ranking idea helps me. So we will present the board with 3 to 4 candidates.
But we still are gonna need ideas of dates.
Yeah,
Okay,
hang on.
so-
So we're gonna present on one date that we are about to choose these candidates, and we are going to interview them as a board, and they are going to answer our questions, and they are going to give us a presentation, and they are gonna tour the library, and they are gonna meet the staff. Are we all agreed on that?
Yes.
Same question for every candidate from each
Yes,
state.
absolutely, that's the only way
I'm
to go.
just
You can't
clarifying.
ask, you can't ask random questions because it's not fair.
So let me ask one, let me throw a wrench. If one candidate is local and one candidate is not, I think that asking the non-local candidate about their reasons for moving here, I think that's relevant, which is not gonna be relevant for somebody who's moving like 20 minutes away.
Well, on the other point of that, ones who are not local, some of them are asking, are we willing to pay for them to
Relocation
move
fees.
here? Are we willing to give them compensation so they, moving
Right, so, but
expense and
that's,
stuff?
what I'm saying
So,
is
I mean,
those,
that stuff we should probably discuss prior to.
Aren't there federal guidelines where it's like more than 50 miles, then you have to compensate?
no, that's for tax,
no,
that's for tax purposes.
Oh, okay.
That you can deduct it from your taxes
okay.
if you're less.
Cassandra,
Okay.
same question from each, like if I ask questions. so-
Absolutely, and those questions will be distributed in advance.
Oh, we don't get to pick our own questions?
No.
It's not ideal, no.
Oh, that I don't agree with.
Well, I
I
don't know
want my
about
own
She
that.
has
questions.
picked
Oh,
out,
this
she has a bunch of questions that have been used at similar type
Yeah, and
situations.
it's, for interview questions, it's something that will be collaborated with HR Source. That's entirely up to your discretion as a board, but I think that's what the process was
I think
presented
what will
as.
help with this, first, there's also a couple things. So everything that all the questions that were asked during the phone screen and during the committee interview, you'll get those questions and the answers beforehand. So then when Kathy gives us, or however we get the questions, I don't even know if we're collaborating on them or what, we can share those questions with you so that if you see that there's something missing or if it's redundant,
Correct.
then we can
It can
tweak them.
be tweaked.
It could be amended, yeah.
So
for
we,
sure.
we as a collective are gonna decide on the questions.
Right, we'll
There's
present them,
gonna
but
be a general.
Okay, yeah, I'm cool.
For a general that would be appropriate for a director.
And
But
then
you might
and then
ask
we'll
a question,
tweak and-
say, here's my question, it might be a question that was already asked before, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah, I understand that.
So this way, you'll see what, you can see what questions have been asked at both situations, either through our interviews or through HR Sources interview.
Well, so
And
again,
realistically, you shouldn't double dip as
Um,
much. You can tweak it and add some of it in there, but
Dates,
Yeah, are we ready to look at dates?
yes, please.
yeah,
And I asked everyone to bring their date book and forgot mine, so I'll do my best. I don't even have calendar. I can pull up my phone calendar. So if we are gonna finish, we have our last interview on Saturday, and then we can talk on Saturday, right, Cassandra? We decided we would kind of
We're gonna
regroup
stick, yeah.
afterwards and talk, and then it's Thanksgiving next week, so we're not
Yeah.
gonna meet next
No.
week. So that we're looking at the week after Thanksgiving. And we talked about possibly a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, right?
I'm good, 27, 28, and 29, I'm open.
Okay,
Monday works well for me.
the 27th?
Yes.
Monday would be better for me than.
Okay.
than the
Patty
other
and
two.
Carolyn, does Monday the 27th work for you?
it
What
works
about
for me.
Suzanne had to leave because she wasn't feeling well?
Mhm.
And what time, Cassandra, what did we talked about starting
At
in-
5?
At 5, okay. But if we have more candidates, we might have to move that up, right? Okay. Or
I won't
depending
be
on
able
if
to
we
start
have,
Before 5.
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
We're starting at 5.
We don't have to.
We don't have to, we just thought that if they're doing a part where they're talking, doing either a tour of the building or meeting the staff, then that should be at least an hour.
Yeah, would
And
6
then
work?
the
Would that be
interview
more
with the
appropriate?
board should be at
Okay,
least an hour.
Maybe we'll start at 6, because if we have 3 candidates, then,
But if we have 4, then we'll split into 2 days.
because it'll be 4 out,
Right.
correct?
Yeah, then it'll be
Because
2 days.
it won't be possible to do 4
So what we
interviews
can do is say
and 4,
27th,
because
and
they're
if
doing an
we
hour with
need
us
another
and an
date,
hour with staff.
yeah. So if we need
What if you
another
s-
date, we can contact people
What if you staggered them coming
once we
in?
know for sure how many
Like
people.
an hour at a time, and they could do the tour first.
I think we need to
and
do
then
all the
finish with
interviews in
us.
one day. I really do.
But if nobody
much-
can be here until 6, and you're
Then we'll stay
interviewing
till
4
7.
people,
Yeah.
you've only got so many hours.
Yeah, I mean, we could do 5 then, but I really think doing
Okay,
them
so-
all back to back is.
Yeah,
is the
I
best
agree,
way.
all in one day. So the day you're picking is the 27th?
So
That's what
far,
we're talking about.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't hear you, so I don't know. Okay,
Yeah, I
that
mean-
day works for me.
I think there's ways that you could stagger people coming in and meeting staff first and then interviewing with us after the fact.
Well, what we thought was one person's with staff and one person's interviewing, right? And then they switch.
No, exactly.
And then-
Yes,
So
and
that's
that's what
a
it
Because
is.
two
then,
hour-
yeah,
Stag-
'cause
yeah,
if the
stagger.
first candidate could come in at 5, and then you guys interview them at 6, so then, you know, I could facilitate
You
that
could-
portion,
you
right?
can
I
maneuver-
wouldn't be involved in the interviews,
Right.
No,
obviously.
no, but you can maneuver it if we started at 6, that we could get them all
Yeah,
done by
because
10
if
o'clock.
the candidate comes in at 5, that gives them their hour, then they come see you at
Yeah.
6, we start the process, and then we'll stagger them that way.
If that's
then
your
they would-
expertise,
So that's
run with it.
4
No, we
That's
could
okay.
definitely facilitate it, but there'd have to be facilitation of that, but I can certainly assist with that, that's no problem.
Okay,
So
so
then
Monday, the 27th at
6 p.m.
6 o'clock for us and 5 o'clock for somebody.
For the first candidate, correct?
Okay.
Okay, and what
And
is-
Patty and Becky, if you two wanna, if you can be here, like, that's fine, if not, then you'll just start at 6. Sorry, my voice is cracking.
and we're thinking 4 candidates then?
We don't know yet, but more than 3.
At least 3.
At least 3.
at least
At
3.
least 3, yeah.
Alright.
At least 3, possibly up to 4. Because you have 2 more interviews, so we don't know how
Right.
those are gonna go.
We
Yeah.
don't know how it's gonna
3
go.
or 4.
Okay, well, that was
Because
painless.
what you see on paper does not necessarily read
Yeah.
for an interview.
Yeah, and like I said, just our ranking is, you know, you just rank them and
Right,
cut the line,
all right,
wherever you need to cut the
I'll
line.
ask this question.
yes. Okay, are we ready to move on to,
Okay.
other?
So Monday the 27th is confirmed?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
Does anyone have
so
other?
that's November 27th.
Correct.
And it'll be up here, right?
Yeah, because
Closed door.
it's gotta be a
Closed door.
closed session.
Alright, thank you.
And, well, I was thinking that we would have dinner for the trustees, but we may not have time for that,
We might not,
so.
depends on how many,
Pizza?
I was
depends,
thinking we'd have pizza brought in, so.
Yeah, why don't we just order?
That'll
pizza?
work, yeah.
Okay.
Simple.
Any, all right, we don't, we can talk about that later. Is there any other?
Nope.
My only other is to thank Sasha for his many years of service.
Definitely.
And we will miss you very much.
Yes.
Agreed.
Oh, yes.
Definitely.
Kudos, for sure.
Sasha.
He's gone.
he's gone. He's,
Yeah, all the best to him. He's gonna be awesome in his new location.
Yes.
We're lucky.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the November 15th board meeting at 10:04 p.m.
Second.
Cassandra, I would like to have a couple of words.
Let me take the roll call.
Yeah.
Trustee Kabir,
Yes.
trustee Droblik,
Yes.
trustee Schoenfeld left, treasurer Vitello,
Yes.
secretary Rosensky,
Yes.
vice president Schoenfeld,
Yes.
and president King.
Yes.
Passes.
It's been a
Thank you.
while.
Thank you.